When the thoughts are calmly collected and the imagination is properly directed, the dots are easily connected. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Connecting the Dots. I'm your host, Niko Sofianos, and it is a pleasure to introduce this next episode, which basically touches on something I think that a lot of people are talking about nowadays, but there's great confusion in and around this concept of twin flames. And I have none other than Alex Ftoulis of the VIP coaching, also known as the Laughing Socrates, a man who brings together so many different tools, navigational tools for the spirit. I'm talking mysticism, the numerology, the astrology, tarot card reading, all of these different occult sciences, and that's what they are, sciences, in order to coach. And he's coaching guys and gals like in high places in the world. And I'm not going to get into all that because I'm not about the status, and neither is he. What we're about is the vocation, and that's what he is very, very versed in, helping you navigate and understand your divine vocation. Now, this concept of twin flames is something that's been discussed in many different by many different groups in many different ways. There's many different thoughts of belief, but ultimately what Alex brings to us is an expert's perspective, someone who's not only been through it, but has really looked at it from many different perspectives. And like we say, connecting the dots is about widening your perspectives so that you may see the bigger picture with greater resolution, because the truth is not in any one perspective. It is the pattern that emerges within the collective. So without any further ado, welcome, Alex. It is an absolute pleasure.
I know it's been so long that I wanted to do that podcast too, and I wanted to speak to the world to learn more about the truth on the subject of twin flames that we're going to discuss today.
Absolutely. On that specific, although we can talk on many subjects, and promise you guys, for the listeners, those of you who know me, those of you who know Alex, never mind the synergy, there's lots of that's going to be coming in terms of that. We're going to start, investigating different aspects, but today is specifically about twin flames. Yes. Alex,
Yes.
what is a twin flame?
So people nowadays are really confused about the subject of twin flames because it's not a normal relationship, and people who are getting into such relationships, they want it to be one because of the dynamics. The first dynamic, the bubble phase, which induces tremendous amounts of energy of love and affection between each other. It's a representation of your dark side and your light side, both of them. So when people are trying to explain what a twin flame relationship or the twin flame scenario is, it's really difficult because it has both of the energies, good times, bad times, extreme love and extreme rejection.
Yes.
And in the communities, as I also talk in Laughing Socrates in my blog,
which, by the way, guys, sorry to cut you. That's the blog. We're gonna get to all the handles and stuff. If you haven't heard of Laughing Socrates, I mean, the title just speaks. It explains the whole thing. It's finding humor in the most profound wisdom. That's your website, right? That's what you've developed.
Yes. And it leads 1.2 million people right now as we speak.
Wow.
So, as I say in Laughing Socrates, there is the typical scenario of an empath falling in love with a narcissist. That's not the main case, but that's one of the many phases of that relationship. Because
phases, you said? One of the phases?
Yes. Because
got it.
There is the human aspect and the divine aspect. And when we first meet our twin flame is the divine aspect, because all the nice feelings come up. We are not yet in a sexual relationship with them. And this is actually where all hell breaks loose. Because if we allow the divine aspect of that relationship to grow, it will normally never fade away. But because we want it to be human and we want that person to be in love with us, we want to hug them, we want to make love with them,
Yeah.
we want all these things, and we are getting away from the main purpose of the twin flame relationship, which is growth, spiritual growth. But we don't want that
Right.
because people want the excitement of that relationship because it's
Yeah.
really, really deep. It's really deep.
Which
We
brings me
are
to that.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry, I was gonna say, which brings me to that question of like, is twin flame even real, or is it some romanticized new age bullshit that everyone's just like wanting to have the most beautiful? Because we see connection as
Mhm.
humans. Is it
Mhm.
real? But you just dropped it. You just cited ancient Greece. You just cited, and I mean, I'm biased maybe because I'm Greek, but you just cited Greek mythology. I would
Mhm.
like to hear a little bit more about even that if we can get into it. But the
Mhm.
fact
Mhm.
is it even real, or is it some romanticized bullshit? Because humans are finding right now with such disconnect, a
Yes.
difficulty really deeply feeling connected to another human,
Mhm. Mhm.
primarily
Exactly.
themselves.
Yes. Yes. That's a wonderful question because we see in groups, in many groups, over the Facebook and social media, people tend to romanticize this relationship, tend
Yeah.
to view it from a different point of view, which is wrong,
Mm,
because they are losing the lesson, the meaning. Because twin flames, it's a deep, profound experience that can lead you to enlightenment in a rapid way, but it will first lead you to the dark night of the soul, which is
mm,
very essential. It's cruel. It lasts from 2 months up to 2 years,
mm.
but
2 months to
um,
2 years.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
This is
okay.
like a shortcut for light workers to expand their consciousness
Mm,
in a much more efficient and a fast way. But people nowadays are viewing twin flames as a romantic
yeah.
relationship, and when all hell breaks loose, they can't comprehend that, and they remain in a place of waiting, which is wrong.
Hmm.
And I'm going to talk about the runner and the chaser phase that
Yeah, that's one of the
twin flames.
dynamics, right? Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
I've heard of
exactly.
this idea that there's always the one that's running, the others that's chasing,
Yes,
and
yes.
which is going back to this idea of empath and narcissist too. There's this. It's
Exactly,
all about
exactly. So,
opposites, right?
yes. So the runner and chaser phase is actually what we call in the narcissistic behavior silent treatment.
Mm,
And the new age side, which uh, it made things, in my humble opinion, a little bit worse. Um, it creates a trap because they say in the new age forums that once somebody runs away from you, you must start healing yourself in order for them to also heal themselves and
mm,
for them to come back. But it's actually silent treatment. One of them represents our narcissistic traits as a mirror. It's not them, it's us. It's
uh-huh.
our hidden trauma that we don't admit that we have these issues. We don't want to see that we have deep
Yeah,
inside, like memories from our childhood, mother, father. So
abandonment issues, whatever it might be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that is reflected in that relationship, and they run away, of course, for their own reason. But
Mm,
once we start accusing and blaming our twin flame, we lost the game.
we lost the
So
whole point.
in that stage, when they run away, the only thing we have to do is to go within and change ourselves, not for them to come back, but for us, because they do that unconsciously and subconsciously from the fifth dimension of thinking, just to help us grow.
Hmm.
But in this dimension, it seems negative. We feel pain, we feel abandonment, etc.,
Abandonment.
etc.
I think the biggest
But
one
in
is abandonment, man.
exactly,
That's one of the
exactly,
biggest traumas for human beings in general. I think all of us at some point in childhood felt that sense of abandonment. And that's one of the
Mhm,
greatest fears that we have, I think.
mhm, mhm.
So yeah, so this is
So
a mirror. This is a mirror right here. And when the
yes,
person's running, they're unconsciously basically giving you an opportunity to go even deeper within yourself. The idea is not to
exactly.
outpace them.
Exactly, exactly. But the first thing that arouses in one's psyche is all that, oh, here it is again, I'm getting abandoned, what
Mm,
everything that I love goes away from me, etc., etc. So the mind takes over, and
hmm.
the mind creates emotions. Thoughts
Right,
creates emotions,
right.
and then we go to assumptions, and assumptions create reality, and we
Beliefs
are
and
ending,
reality.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
are ending up in a loop of abuse.
Mm,
And
mm.
unfortunately, we see in the communities of twin flames people waiting 20 and 30 years for that twin flame to come back, which is ridiculous
Yeah.
because we don't love ourselves enough to realize, first of all, that we need to raise safe boundaries. Twin flames
Yes.
is all about self love and learning how to admit our mistakes,
Hmm.
never blame the other, take responsibility of our thoughts and
Yeah.
actions. But it's really, really difficult
Extreme
because,
ownership of all of that which
exactly,
you've put in. That's being
exactly,
a true
exactly.
in the age of Aquarius. I mean, not to get too far into astrology, but for the listeners, they're usually quite versed, my listeners in astrology.
Mhm.
But this age we're in now is about self-love because it's like when more than here during lockdown do we have the time to even consider what is self-love. We get so
Exactly.
far off uh, projecting ourselves and seeing ourselves reflected by the world and society. When you just going from here to work, you're gonna naturally feel like you're connected because you're just in this comfort bubble. But now
Mhm.
that we're on lockdown, it's almost like we're all like a parent sends their kid to their room to reflect on and check in with what happened here. How have you
Exactly.
reached this point of such
Mhm.
dissonance, of such lack of self-control? It's a lack of self-love.
Exactly.
So
And this is a nice paradigm because each thing we are experiencing, it's a manifestation of ours. It seems really extreme and crazy as a concept, but in
it is.
quantum mechanics, we are coming to the conclusion that we are only experiencing one reality, and this is our own reality.
Mm,
And in the collective environment is again one manifestation. But the environment always gives us signs. Like you said, the pandemic, we can't travel. We felt before that we are trapped. We felt financially unable to do that and that in travel. We felt that we couldn't come in touch with our loved ones, and this came to manifestation. This
right.
is also this the same thing happens with twin flames too, where most of the light workers that are experiencing such a profound experience of the twin flames, they come of a place of lacking love.
Mm,
And because they, due to their family situation, society, they didn't receive the perfect love they wanted as children,
right.
that vibration tends to draw in your life twin flame, that your twin flame. But
Hmm.
twin flame is not something that we can manifest. It's not something that we can intentionally bring in our lives. I mean, nobody can sit and meditate and just say, "Oh my God, I need a twin flame in my life." No,
Yeah.
it happens because there was an agreement
Mm,
between both of you. Because you see, your twin flame comes in each and every reincarnation with you.
mm,
And the only time where we see twin flames in a perfect relationship is that of Ramakrishna, where he was in relationship with his beloved, and they never had a sexual relationship.
mm.
They didn't have karma. They didn't have lessons to go through. They were both teachers of light. And so the only way to have a healthy relationship with our twin flame is when we advance in the final stage, one step before never coming back to reincarnate. The final reincarnation where
So,
our
right.
souls are pure, because twin flame relationships are of a higher vibration. That's why we end up in the runner and chaser, and people
Yeah.
are going away from us because we are not ready. We are
Yeah.
not pure. We
Yeah.
didn't get the lesson.
I'm gonna just touch on this real quick because you know me, man. My moon's in Scorpio, and for all our listeners who are skeptical, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate right now. Um,
Mhm.
this idea of reincarnation is a tough one for people. They wrestle with it, especially if they're scientific based minds, like which I would consider myself quite to be, scientifically based, except what they lack is esoteric science. And this is where someone like you and your VIP coaching, which uses all these navigational tools of mysticism, the astrology, the numerology, and all these other archetypal maps, if you will, to help them better understand thyself, as Socrates
Yes,
says.
yes,
Know
yes.
thyself, that's the key, then you can get out of your own damn way. But for people who are wrestling with this concept of reincarnation, you don't need to see it any further than, like, if you don't believe that the soul is going to leave and then come back in another meat suit, another like actual physical human being, look at it as in re-engaging.
Mhm.
Reincarnating would be re-engaging the next day, because
Exactly,
I believe there's new life every time the sun rises. That's a new life. That's how I always pray
exactly.
in the morning. Thank you, God. And with my daughter, I teach Athena every morning. You say thank you for the fact that you even woke up, because so many people haven't woken up, from their sleep.
Exactly, exactly,
So every
exactly.
day is a new life. So instead of
Hmm.
seeing it, if it's so, for all the skeptics out there who's like, this sounds like some new age shit, you know what I mean? I can't hear any more of this. Consider that what we're talking about, if your imagination can't go that far as to reincarnation and the fact that we're in this multi-dimensional holographic, singularity, self-similarity place, called the omniverse, as some of them call it. If you can't go that far, that's okay. Let's draw it in and just recognize that every single time the sun rises, every day is a new life. And therefore, to
Exactly.
reincarnate and reface the same, you know, karma is the idea of having to deal with that same bullshit with that coworker tomorrow at work again. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have
Exactly.
to deal
This.
with the same bullshit if you figured it within you
Hmm.
how to tweak it, right? Because they're a
Yeah.
projection of the inner, the outers. So I hope that helps some of the people out there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Actually, reincarnation is what you said, because we are coming back and coming back in order to learn all of our lessons and have all the experiences. As Dolores Cannon says, we also come, and I also believe that, not only as humans but also as animals, because if you don't feel the complete experience of your own creation from the place of the observer, from the place of the created item, because you can also come, as Dolores says, as a plant, as even a rock. So each time you come back, you have a different experience from a different consciousness. This is the only way for us to come to the final stage of a completion. So when we are progressing through that game, the next time we are going to get born, we are about born, this is going to be imprinted on the natal chart. The natal chart actually is a map of previous reincarnations.
Wow.
The natal chart is the most powerful
Wow.
tool for someone to break through, to have a breakthrough, to move ahead, because the main problem with the humans is stagnation. They want to move on, they want
Stuck.
prosperity, they
Yeah.
want healthy relationship, and they are stuck in the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But if we see the magic of the natal chart, that's why I use it in my VIP coaching, because it can help you see where you are right now, what you've been through,
Yeah.
and take your lesson through a practical way, because people are researching also through their own emotions. They are trying to find answers through their own mind, but it's not enough. We need these tools, where we need these soul contracts, because each time we come, we change roles and we
Mm.
learn new things, and the
Hmm.
next time we're going to come back, we have like experience. And that experience is going to lead us to more profound experiences,
Right.
not necessarily good, because good is a comfort place. The only way to unlock your potentiality is going through breaking through comfort zones, facing your fears, facing what you don't want, actually. And the twin flame is one of the biggest, if not the biggest stage that one human can go through in order to elevate their consciousness, learn their lessons, remove karma, and learn how to unconditionally love, which is a part of their higher consciousness.
Mm.
Um, so without this soul contract, there would be no lessons, there will be no progress,
No
and
progress.
that stagnation will remain like a theme for the rest of our lives, and we don't
Yeah.
want that. We like moving, we like the
Yes.
flow,
Movement.
like
Yes.
energy must have a
Yes.
flow. Mhm.
Absolutely, man. Now we went a little bit off into the natal chart there, but it does all completely come back to this twin flame idea because how, and this is the next question, can we use astrology and our natal chart to better understand maybe that we either have found or are dealing with our twin flame or
Mhm.
not, that we're not. It's just
Mhm.
we're hoping that this person's our twin flame or we're seeking something. Does astrology verify whether it's a
Mhm.
twin flame or not, or can it be used to at least help us better understand that it might be? How does it play into? Like in
Yeah,
my
I can
case, you
see.
know, my situation,
Mhm.
I have,
Yeah, yeah.
a Scorpio moon with Leo sun, and then, my lovely beloved Hugh, who I believe might be my twin flame, her moon is in Leo and her sun is in Scorpio, literally the opposite. So
Yeah,
it's led me
that's
to,
exactly, yeah.
which has led
Perfect.
me to believe that's a likely twin flame nature you're
Mhm.
dealing with.
Mhm.
However,
Mhm. Yeah.
it also might be a construct I'm attaching to, just like people are always looking for signs and meanings to attach to constructs. And when
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
attach to constructs, we start suffering because then we start living into this construct versus just living and being. So, but is
Mhm.
there validity and truth to that? Would you say, as an astrologer and twin flame expert?
Uh, I will talk out of my own personal experience because we conducted experiments for 4 years to actually confirm our first thoughts about that concept, and we found out that the genuine twin flames of our own generation, that we have to explain that, because in our generation we have all these running away, runner a chaser, and
Mm,
all these dynamics, these crazy dynamics. In that case, we see that the fire signs, the opposites are the water signs, and with the earth signs come the air signs.
ah,
So when we see, like you said, Scorpio with Leo, Scorpio is water, Leo is fire. I'm a Pisces. My twin flame was a Leo. So these opposite dynamics, they cause a lot of chaotic, reactions and experiences,
for
because
sure.
uh, fire burns and evaporates the water, and the water wants to ease and erase the fire.
That's
From
right.
the other side, we have the wind that blows on the ground, on the earth, and the earth doesn't move. And we
Right.
have all that conflict, and chaos comes out of that. But chaos precedes creation. Without chaos,
Yes.
there is no creation.
Ah,
And another thing that we found out is that the genuine twin flames have 10 to 12 years age gap. And
age gap.
but age gap, yeah, 10 to
Really?
12 years, yeah.
So your
And this
twin
is
flame will
also,
likely be 10 years older than you or 10 years younger than you.
yes,
Interesting.
exactly.
Interesting.
That's like in 90% of the cases that we studied. There are also actually some cases that they had like less, 2 years, 7 years, 5 years, yeah, but most of them have actually 10 to 12 years as an
Mm.
average, because we can see also 15 years and more.
Wow.
And but this in the astrology and in the quantum mechanic and the world of the energy, when we have the 10-year gap, the first one who is who comes into reincarnation, he's already 10 years old or 12 years old when the other one is born.
Right.
So they went away from the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is open until the age of 7 years old.
7. Right. Right. Right.
So they already hold within the attributes of the trauma of their parents,
Mm.
because the universe wants us to go through the lessons. So
Yeah.
that age gap happens for a reason, because the first one, who is the attractor and actually the runner, the chaser, uh, he or she must have the first experience. They must live for 10 years, 12 years.
Mm.
They must have their negative experience, because the negative experience is a lesson that we are called to heal.
Yeah.
Because twin flames, the other thing that they do, they are breaking generational curses.
Mm.
One other thing that I do in my personal services as an occultist is I'm trying to help people break through that generational curse,
Breaking.
because many people suffer and they don't know why.
Yeah.
Because my grandfather murdered somebody,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that energy remains in the family, in the bloodline, because
Yeah.
somehow they didn't remove the karma,
Yeah. The guilt.
uh,
The
the
guilt
guilt.
gets passed
Yeah.
down from, yeah,
Mhm.
genetically. Absolutely. Let's discern the concepts of soulmate and twin flame. Like, what's the difference between these two? Because they
Okay.
seem to be maybe used, kind of for one another, but they're different, aren't they?
Yeah, of course. A soulmate is a companion that you can have in this lifetime without them reflecting all of your issues or pushing you in that powerful and sometimes negative way for
Mm.
you to grow. They are with you. They also have their own issues. You can have fun with them. You can also fall in love with them. But the twin flame, their main purpose, as my own twin flame used to say, I am here to save your soul. And once I do that for you, I will leave. So please do that for me too. And when she was talking like that, I was like, what? I didn't know anything about twin flames back in the day. And I didn't want her to, to just deliver some lessons. And then I wanted her to be in my life. But the purpose of the twin flame is to help you remove karma. They
Mm.
slap you literally
Mm.
on your face just for you to wake up from the sleep that we are in, from that society sleep that we are all of us deep into due to media, programming, all of that that we've been through. So they slap you out of that deep sleep, and their purpose is to take you from the hand and get you back to your mission, because that's why light workers have these experiences, because they came here to help humanity ascend to a different level of vibration, to a different consciousness level. That's why they the twin flame is so powerful, and I said negative again, because their way is not the sweetest of the ways. They push you, they mimic, and they reflect, and they are mirroring all these dark aspects of your own psyche in a matter that you don't want to realize. Oh,
Yeah.
that's not my twin flame.
Yeah.
Or people,
Yeah.
they think that one
That's not
day,
me. That's not me. I'm not that,
yeah, exactly,
selfish, or I'm not
exactly.
that
Hmm.
egotistical, or all of it
Yeah,
is exactly what you are, and you need to
yeah,
see it clearly,
yes.
vividly, face it,
Hmm.
embrace it. And this is something I got from you, not to cut you off, but like, because I a lot of, this is just us now podcasting, but we've had conversations, man, that have left me for, the rest of the day really deeply contemplating and coming up with some of the greatest revelations, man. And one thing you told me was that your twin flame is the physical embodiment of your shadow,
Yeah.
so that you may observe it, see it embodied in another
Yeah,
and learn to accept it by unconditionally loving it.
exactly.
That was the best definition I ever understood, because it's like
Mhm.
that's the whole purpose of that twin flame. A lot of people will reflect our light. We love seeing our light reflected to us, you know what I mean? But it's when we really have an opportunity to face our darkness. This is where I
Mhm.
feel the new age community and all the light workers are losing it, and they're doing a lot of
Yeah,
spiritual bypassing. They're not doing they're chasing the light, but they're not facing the dark. And this
yeah,
is where I feel
exactly.
my moon Scorpio, you know me, and that's why we've had these deep, profound
Yeah.
conversations. I'm not
Mhm.
afraid to face my darkness. However, damn, I could say it's so uncomfortable. And when you do face it, you start contorting yourself and start trying to manipulate yourself or the other person to try to avoid to really
Yeah.
feel that pain. But the only way to heal the pain is to feel the pain, right?
Exactly, exactly. And it's actually one of our main practices in coaching is that we get our clients through a state of uh, completely immersing them in pain, in the
Mm,
emotion, that emotion, because most of the people they tend to avoid emotion, and when they
mm,
tend to avoid the emotion, they also avoid the root of their problem, the causation and the trauma and the reason, and they are never able to find the source. That's why twin flames are so important in one's life, especially in light workers' life. But the problem is that most of the light workers they don't want to believe that that person it's only for a lesson. It's not for a
mm.
relationship. It's not for having only sex and fun and all the good things in life. No, they are there to trigger us. They are there to remind us that we have to sit down with the emotion, all
Hmm.
right, and allow that notion of the energy to start flowing again properly because we don't allow the pain to be transmuted. That's the problem. Pain must first be recognized.
Hmm.
Then we need to recognize the source. Then we have to recognize that we are responsible no matter what for that experience. And then we need to transmute it to a lesson, to an experience, and to a higher energy of understanding, compassion, and unconditional love. These are
Mm.
the stages, but we have to dive deep in darkness. As Carl Jung says, in order
Mm.
for you to reach higher in light, in consciousness, you need to dive deeper and
To
deeper in
darkness.
darkness. And that's
Absolutely.
the twin flame. The twin flame takes you from the head and pushes you down to the abyss. You don't want to believe that because you love them, because they are so important for you, because deep inside you know that they were with you on all of your lifetimes, all of your reincarnations. They are so important for you, especially at the beginning. And when the hell breaks loose, we don't admit our faults. We accuse others. We blame
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
We start
Check.
putting labels,
Yep.
soulmates, twin flame, this and that, and immediately most of the light workers, what they do is like they seek for another companion. This is so wrong.
Mm.
This is so wrong.
That's the
It,
codependent, as they would call it in psychology,
exactly,
psychotherapy.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. And this is the first lesson of twin flames: codependency.
Codependency.
That's the first lesson.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I'm going to talk about a bit about something I always emphasize on the articles on Laughing Socrates. There
Mm-hmm.
are two main syndromes that keep people in abusive relationships:
Mm-hmm.
Stockholm syndrome and the honeymoon effect syndrome.
Stockholm.
Stockholm syndrome
What's
and the
that?
honeymoon effect syndrome.
And
The
honeymoon
Stockholm
effect.
syndrome is when the victim goes back to the rapist because they feel some kind of connection.
Mm.
And the honeymoon effect is when we remember only the good times and we
Mm.
avoid to
Mm-hmm.
remember all the red flags, and we
Yes.
only romanticize, we
Right.
fantasize the good things, and
Yep.
we
Yep.
want them to be again in the future, and people go back to toxic relationships. Not necessarily only twin flames, but in most of the cases, these two syndromes, they hold you in a little prison.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to break through all these prisons in order for us to become enlightened, to become better teachers.
Mm.
And in my case, the twin flame appeared when I began my organization, the Astrogenesis Room. She appeared out of nowhere. The first day I began that organization,
Wow.
because deeply I wasn't ready to be the teacher I always wanted to be, even though
Mm.
my intentions were out of pure love and compassion, because Astrogenesis Room helps young people in my country, Cyprus. She came because I had issues. And the first thing she told me, and I will never forget that, she told me, I see you, I know who you are, and I know that you have built a big wall in front of your heart
Mm.
to keep further pain coming towards you, and that's wrong. And I want to demolish that big wall because I love you. And I didn't know
Wow.
her so well, and it was the
Just out
first
of
thing
nowhere.
that, yeah, that she told me, and I was
Was,
like, what?
was this so this is your twin flame?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
she was 10 years younger than you or older than you, or
yeah,
were
yeah. 11, 11,
she was 11?
11, and I want
Older?
to talk. No, younger.
Okay.
And I want to talk about something
Wow.
really significant here. I feel like I was in a state of a miracle because I was 33 years old. She was 22. And when you take 30 through 22 out of 33, there's 11. And 33, 22, and 11 are master numbers.
Right.
And from the first day I met her till the last day she left, we kept all day watching around 33, 22, 33, 22.
Mm.
My house number is 33, her house number 22. Every little thing was screaming out loud 33 and 22. And what is 33? Master teacher. And what is 22? The master creator. I was trying to become the master teacher, but she was constantly manifesting through the power of 22 in my life lessons.
Mm.
And
22, which
that,
is the master builder.
yeah, master builder, the master creator. And these two numbers, uh, they haunted us for that amount of time that we were together before she left for another country. And we were studying together all the synchronicities, everything. I mean, we had a really deep spiritual connection. And the problem began when I wanted to have a human connection with her. And she was like,
Mm.
no, let's keep it like that, unconditional love, let's work together. And because I really felt in love with her, I really wanted that extra thing, that kiss, that making love, being with her. And it was my fault because I introduced the human aspect in something that is really, really holy and divine. And with her, I experienced a lot of miracles, a lot of synchronicities, a lot of strange things that till today I can't explain. So if anybody who is out there and is listening to that podcast and they are in the first stages of that relationship, I know that it's hard, but please try to keep it in a divine, beautiful spiritual connection. Keep them as a friend.
Mhm.
It might hurt, it might sound impossible, but it will benefit you and you are not going to lose them. Once
Right.
you try to introduce human aspects,
Mm.
the karma grows even more and they are running away because there is no more holy connection to that bond.
Right.
We introduce neediness,
Mm.
codependency, and all
Yes.
these human things, and the twin flame is not okay with that, and they are running away.
Yeah. That's huge. I was gonna that answers the question then because I was gonna say like what do we do if we do meet our twin flame and we realize that yeah, we're humanizing this, and it's starting to now become severely dramatic. There's tremendous projection that's occurring, and it's become a horror show basically for the person who's apparently a light worker and wants to do good in the world. Now they're
Mhm.
busy trying to, you know, face their darkness, and they get swept into this like game of projection and blame and all that, rather
Mhm.
than like, and I know I speak from personal experience too, man. Like I don't want to get into the details of it, but right now all I can say is like, as we've taken the step back to a more platonic nature of relation, the ship is actually, because I see the relationship as a ship, and how we relate.
Yeah, yeah,
And some
yeah,
people's ship has a massive, break in the bow, you know what I mean? And it's going
yeah,
down. You got to recognize when that's happening so that you can jump off the ship back into your little canoe where you always started out, because that's what we're
yeah,
here. We're like,
yeah, yeah,
we have
yeah.
our own lifeboats.
Hmm.
It's just when we start relating to one another and we start building like a
Hmm.
ship, even the
Hmm.
Titanic we saw went down. You have to be able to recognize when it's going down, get out and observe it from a divine, like you said, a holy perspective. Get off that ship, because that ship is the codependency, especially when there's consummation, especially when we haven't even gotten there, sharing, the STDs, as they call them, the sexually transmitted demons. Like, because now
Yeah,
when you start consummating, you're going to start like entering all those parallel dimensions,
yeah,
opening up to all those, all that karma and all those archonic behaviors. And
mhm,
that's another video, of course, because
yeah,
archons,
yeah,
that's deep. We'll get into that. But
yeah,
like, what happens when you step back and you get off that ship back into your own lifeboat, remembering that, hey, I'm okay. Even
yeah,
though
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
alone, I got my own.
Hmm.
Then you start to look at the ship and you can see where it's broken, where's the leak, and
Yeah,
then maybe start working on it little by little, but not
yeah.
obsessing with the ship,
Hmm.
focusing on the self love, like you said.
It takes tremendous effort and also mental capabilities and psychic abilities in order for us to see a twin flame relationship from the point of working with a divine partner in a divine way towards our ascension, because the egoic side, the human side really craves for that touch. It
Yes,
really
yes,
craves for the bonding,
yes.
you don't want to lose them. You don't want to lose that twin flame you found, huh? And you are trying to do all these things to keep them close to you. You don't want them to talk to others. You're becoming jealous, etc., etc. And by
Yes,
introducing
yes.
all these lower vibration aspects of yourself, of your character, of your psyche, you are pushing away the divine, because there
Mm,
are two opposite energies. And
mm.
again, this is where the zodiac thing comes.
Comes in.
There are two opposites, and we need to find the inner balance between these two
Too.
opposites.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we manage to do that, this is where true freedom comes. It's not easy. It's not easy. But if it was easy, everybody was going to be guru, light worker, or billionaires, or etc. And it takes work
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ability to recognize our faults and our own mistakes first.
Yes, yes. That's the key right there.
Hmm.
Recognize
Hmm.
it as a
Yeah,
reflection. That's the most spiritual you could ever be, is take complete ownership and responsibility and recognize nothing has gone outside of your own creation. You are the creator of all of this.
yes,
That's going from victim to creator. That's
exactly.
it takes ultimate responsibility, and that means facing some aspects of yourself that are disgusting. But
Yeah,
this is where and why I even put that tattoo on my back. There's two lions within me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And it's just like the Cherokee grandfather says to his son when he's explaining about that fight between the two wolves that is happening within us all. One representing our faith and our love, our generosity of spirit. The other, our envy and our greed and our
Hmm.
insecurities. And the grandson asks, well, which one wins? And he says, the one that you feed the most.
Exactly,
But the
exactly.
idea, and I remember talking about this with you, is that we don't starve the one and just feed
Yeah.
the other. They're both
Hmm.
aspects of ourselves. And like Carl
Yeah.
Jung said, a whole man is he who's walked with God and wrestled with the devil. So they
Hmm.
both need to be fed a healthy
Yeah.
diet.
Yeah.
because otherwise, by virtue of starvation and survival, the one that you are starving will literally eat the other one as food. It's not even a
Yeah.
fight anymore. It's
Hmm.
just like, I gotta survive. So you have to have that other aspect, that shadow aspect of yourself, also properly on its diet of,
Yeah. And that's
medicine.
and that's actually the final lesson of twin flames, is integrating the shadow aspect within the light, and
Mm,
also the light within. It's like yin and yang, but in practice it's horrible. And this is where we are about to mention the dark night of the soul as a
Dark Knight.
process,
Yes.
because this is the final lesson and it has to do with the shadow aspect of ourselves. But
Yes.
because the dark night of the soul is a stage induced by the universal laws and we are not able to control it, the only thing that we can do is observe, feel, change our perception, and therefore slowly change our habitual patterns of reactivity. This is really, really important. Exactly.
There's this one quote or lyric I always write in rhymes. That's how I remember, right? It goes, they say when you hit rock bottom, you can only rise up. Well, I got news for you. There's no rock and no bottom. So if you're falling, you're fucked. The fact is, don't wait to hit nothing to bounce up from.
Yeah,
The only
yeah.
way you're going to rise back up is when you actually
Mhm, mhm,
extend your arms in this gesture, which represents surrender,
mhm.
and thus also opening your wings to catch some wind and start to, like the parachute, and use the dynamics of the universe now, using the first law of spirit, surrender, to start catching some wind, and and
Yeah,
and, and falling at a lesser speed until you can start to gain some faith and know, like, okay, wait, so now what I got to do is, and then you got to start doing your work first.
yeah,
Surrender, though, we're
yeah.
trying to control everything. It's like, instead of
Mhm.
thy will be done, it's my will be done, and we try to
Yeah.
do it on our own, because that's what free will is, our opportunity and ability to take
Mhm, mhm,
control and action. But we can't forget to surrender, the first law of spirit,
mhm.
to knowing there's a bigger plan beyond our mortal
Yeah.
mind's comprehension.
Yeah, that's why Twin Flames works as a catalyst,
As a
and
catalyst.
in order for us to wake up from that deep sleep that we are into, and our inability to take responsibility of our thoughts, of our actions, of our beliefs, of our perceptions, and that catalyst is not nice. It's a heavy and turmoilous ride that only few people can make it through without blaming the other, without chasing them, without remaining in that loop of abuse in the narcissistic and empath
Mm-hmm.
scenario that takes form after actually
Mm-hmm.
we try to put the human side in the twin flame relationship. Once we allow the twin flame relationship to be divine and holy, it will grow and grow and grow, and there will be no more like phases like running and chasing and all these abuse. It will only flourish, it will only grow.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then we have a Facebook group right now. I started it lately. It's called Twin Flames Unite,
Okay.
and they can send me a personal message there. But if they log in Laughing Socrates, we have all of our services and VIP coaching there. We also provide people with occult tools to use to help their financial situation, to break through toxic relationships, and we constantly create innovative tools, as you mentioned, the VIP sessions. Actually, the VIP sessions are the most complete. Life coaching session is available worldwide right now because we provide with natal chart decoding, human
Decoding.
human resources decoding, which is similar to natal chart but much more evolved. We
Mm.
have 7 of the most famous astrologers in the world that we work on you. It's a profound experience for somebody who seeks not only self improvement, but for those who have big goals in life.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really important tool because we can prevent you from certain difficulties that may come, that may arise from your own psyche by using protocols as the root method that I have, the ROP method, that these protocols and methods are unique and innovative, and they can help one's psyche and psychosomatic state to transmute much more fast and much more effectively. And due to the researches that we've been doing with people in California in the Meta Institute of Health. So
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
they can find me also on Facebook
Thank
or
you,
my
brother.
name, Alex Ftoulis. Yes.
You mentioned something there, psychosomatic, man. For people who know Louise Hayes, that's what he's talking about. The whole
Yeah.
concept that all your ailments, all your dis-eases are the result of energetic incoherence within your body, which can be decoded through the natal chart. They called it astrophysiology, according to Hippocrates, or astrophysiognomy. There's another term for it. But whatever it is, this guy is the real deal. He's using real tools and he has a real deep understanding. Yeah, brother. And thank you, man. I'm happy, so happy that we finally got this. I want to have you back on the show. We're going to talk a little bit more about some other things, man.
Yeah, why not? I would love to talk with you about manifestation because it's one of my main projects. The past 7 years, I wrote books about that. I'm into big communities, and we are developing new tools for people to manifest their dreams faster. It's amazing. People that they know, Neville Goddard, that they are familiar with Bashar, with Seth, and all these wonderful Abraham Hicks. And we took their teachings into a new level. Joseph Murphy, and we have a wonderful collaboration in all over the world with spiritual teachers, and we are working in new tools. So looking forward to talk with you again in a new podcast, man.
Beautiful, man. Much
Thank
love.
you, man. Thank you. Much love to
all the way from Canada to Greece, man. Covering the globe.
Ciao, man.
Take it easy, brother.
Take it easy. Take it easy, man.